Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. Ooh, child. Let me tell y'all. It's like I'm feeling like my emotions is being played with because we have had warm weather all weekend. And I'm like, okay, like what part of the game is this? I know we're in like the first week of October. And normally it gets a little cool. And we were having like cool mornings, and then it just like shifted to like hot weather. I'm talking like 80-degree weather. Now I know some people that live in certain areas, they get the warm weather this time of year. But for us up north, it's like, whoo, child. I'm like,
Hi.
hey sister, can't see you.
Hey. Oh, it
I hear
froze
you, but
up.
yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Boo. All right, I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, but I was saying that, yeah, like I know a lot of states and like different areas, they get the warm weather this time of year. But for us, this is like a little unusual. I know like maybe like the first few days of October is a little like warmer, and then the temperature starts to shift a little bit. Hey, there we go. There we go.
Hey.
Hey, sister, how are you?
I am wonderful. Happy to be here. How are you?
Okay, listen, I was just literally talking about how crazy this weather has been. Like, I'm thinking about, hello, Jaden, thank you for coming in. Like, you know how like October is one of those tricky months, like it goes up and down.
Yeah.
Sometimes like the warm weather, sometimes we get like the cool weather. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was like, I could really appreciate that the weather was a little warm this weekend. You know,
Yeah, yes.
considering how the week, like the mornings was like super cold. I was
Yes.
like, I had to turn my heat on the way to work. I was like, oh my God. I was
Yes.
like, it's happening.
Yeah, winter is coming.
It is coming.
Yes.
I was like, we getting like a little sneak preview.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh my God. Yes. How was your week?
The week is good. It was good. I don't have no complaints.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I had a good weekend. Went out, still enjoying some of the things going on in Philadelphia. But like I said, definitely happy about the warm weather. So
Ah,
yeah, which is good for going outside.
that
So
part.
yeah.
That part. That part. Yes, yes. I was like, let me take a little bit of this in while I can. Enjoy a
Right.
little bit outside, taking some of the sunshine. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, like let me try to get it in because it ain't gonna be here too much longer, you know.
Right.
But I can appreciate. I can
Yeah.
appreciate it. I can appreciate it. It's like, all right, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Like I'm not even mad at it for real, for real.
Right, right. I'll be hoping that we be lucky because, I feel like, it seemed like, back in the day, it used to be like more colder.
Yes.
It seemed like it'd be staying warmer a little bit longer, like even into November sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like if
Mm-hmm.
we get lucky, maybe it'd be one of those years. But I think it's
Yeah.
just all the stuff that's going on with climate change and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that's
Yep.
been really weird, you
Yeah,
know.
yep, yep, yep. The global warming and all this other stuff. Yep. So yeah, we
Yeah.
get a little taste of it. We get a little taste of it. It's like, but I'm thinking about like what comes with like the winter and the cold, and I'm like, oh, I was like, I can even like really appreciate that it stays warm a little bit. I can even appreciate that.
Right.
Not even
Right.
gonna like hate on that part. Hey, Leonica, thank you
Yeah.
for coming in. Happy
Yeah.
Sunday to you. Happy Sunday. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, my week was like full speed ahead, never a dull
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah, with the kitties.
Yes, never a dull moment, never a dull moment. Yeah. I was like, we even got that one day off and it did not feel like that day off. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, happy Sunday, Leonica. Thank you for coming in. yeah. But I'm glad you had a good weekend, and got
Mm.
enjoy some of this beautiful weather that we're having. It's like I just
Mhm.
consistent. I try to stay on top of the weather. I was looking at the beginning of the first couple of days. I'm like, okay, so it's gonna be a little warmer. I'm like, then it's gonna
Mhm.
be a little bit, but I'm like, all right, keep it coming. I'm not ready for the cold yet. I'm not ready for the cold yet.
Yeah. I'm like try to keep it play keep away for as long as possible.
Exactly. Yes, yes. Yes. But happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for coming in
Yeah.
for Sister Talk today. For Sister Talk today. Yeah, we always do our small talk to catch up a little bit because we both have busy lives. So it's always nice to try to catch up a little bit. Um, but yeah, so we have an interesting topic. Just thinking about it, I was like, ooh, it definitely had me like thinking about a
Mhm.
lot of things. This is one of them like touchy situations. It's definitely one of those touchy situations.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about breaking generational curses.
Mhm.
Breaking
Yeah. It's a big deal. Yeah.
definitely a big deal.
Mhm.
It's like for those that have not heard of generational curses or don't understand them, we're gonna
Mhm.
break it down a little bit for you. So it's pretty much like a generational curse refers to like the patterns of like negative behavior or beliefs or even experiences that are believed to be passed down
Right.
generation to the next. Like
Generation. Mhm.
right? So they may include things like even like addictions or abuse or like poverty, like mental health struggles and stuff like that, or even
Right.
like dysfunctional relationships, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that the
Mhm.
stuff can be carried down, guys, and you might not even realize that you're a part of a generational curse, and you might see
Mhm.
these things like swirling around or happening over and over again within the family. But it's a real thing. Generational curses are a real thing.
Yeah,
They're
and because we're learning from, our parents and, so it's like sometimes them cycles just continue, you
yes.
know. Yeah, when you first when you mentioned it, the first thing I thought about was when I was in the 7th grade. It was a girl that was in my class. She was 14 years old and she was pregnant.
Oh
And
man.
I remember she said the way how she was so nonchalant about it, like, "Oh, she was like, "Oh, my mother is 28." And we was like, like we were sitting at the lunch table in a little crew. We're all like, "Okay, so your mother had you at 14." She
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Yeah." And her grandmother had her mother at 14 years old.
What?
Yeah. So she
Oh
was the
man.
third, having a baby at the age of 14.
Mm-mm.
And so and I remember it was like, okay, like, what I'm saying? Like, is I mean, just thinking about her baby and, doing
Yeah.
the same thing,
Yeah.
or are they going to break
Yes.
that
Yes.
cycle? Yeah.
Yes. 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 Yeah. That's definitely a cycle. Hey, honey, thanks
Mhm.
for coming in. Yeah. Yeah. That to me is like so sad. Yeah, because like what you're saying, like generational curses, like it could like trick over to like unresolved like traumas or like harmful habits, or like limiting your mindset. Like you said, the girl was like what's the big deal, like my mama had me
Right.
at work, you know what I mean, like
Mhm.
just that mindset.
Yeah.
like it's okay,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
Mhm. Yeah,
right.
and we see it in so many different ways. Um, I read this book, well, I read pieces of the book. I didn't read the whole thing, but it was Breaking the Change of Psychological Slavery. But it was that
Mm,
same thing, what I mean, just talking about like how even from out of that enslavement era, the way that we still bring that stuff right into today, even with like the way that, beating our children, like whippings and I
mm,
mean, the way that we would down our children. Dr. Joy Leary, um, she has a book, post traumatic stress disorder. I mean, post traumatic slavery disorder, and she talks
mm.
a lot. about that, the multi-generational effects of slavery, and
Mm-hmm.
and how the way that we just continue to pass things down through our DNA. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because it's like we're being so traumatized, and the way it get like locked in our DNA, and how we're just doing things that was done to us hundreds of years ago from like the slave master, type of
Mm.
thing, and how we're just keeping these things going. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because she was saying how like it's a part in the book. Cause sometimes like like when people be like, oh, well, how's the child doing or something. They be like, oh, oh, they bad, or they get on my nerves, da da da. And you hear a person talking down about the child. She was
Mm-hmm.
saying that because like when a slave master, like we would talk down about our children back then because wouldn't want master to think like the child is doing well, because then master like, oh, okay, my master seeing the value of that child, and the
Mm.
mother would be afraid of them selling the baby, selling the child, you know
Mm.
and stuff. So it's
Mm.
like talk about, oh, he's stupid,
Wow.
master. Oh, he a dummy, you know what I mean? Oh, you don't want to be bothered with him, and would talk down about the child, because it's like, you
Wow.
want, what I'm saying? Don't
Wow.
what I mean, don't want, because if you talking him up, what I mean, oh, he's smart. Oh, he da da
Yeah.
da. The master like, oh, okay. Well, you bring him
Yeah.
on over here, what I'm saying,
Right.
and seeing the value of him. So they put him down and devalue the child instead. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, that is deep. Thank you, Mr. True. I appreciate you for sharing that in the chat. Hey, Angel Cakes, thank you
Mhm.
for coming in, sweetie. Glad to
Mhm.
see you. Happy Sunday. Yeah, like you said, like the generational curse mindset, like you said, like the
Mhm.
recurring patterns, right?
Mhm.
Even it could be like cycles of like poverty or like financial instability. Like sometimes that trickles down,
Yeah. That's a
right?
big one too.
That's a
Yeah.
big one, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I talk about like the unresolved like traumas and abuse, like the
Mhm.
negative beliefs and attitudes about like self-worth and stuff,
Mhm.
like people don't think, and then sometimes you can inherit like help mental health or emotional stress. You can inherit
Yeah.
too, right?
For
That's the big
sure, for sure. And just in general health, me too. Um, like when you hear somebody say like it's not, because people be like, oh, this runs in my family. You know what I'm
yes, all
saying?
the time.
This runs
All
in my family. And but it's like, because you're eating the same, diet that your parents are eating, and they eating the diet that their grandparents is eating. And it's a lot of, health practitioners that would say it's not hereditary, it's dietary. You know what I'm saying?
mm, mm,
And so it's like that's why, high blood pressure runs in your family, because y'all all eating the same diet.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
why, yeah. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
things that make you more prone to it, what I mean, especially when it already runs in your family, but then you continuing that cycle, of the, that unhealthy cycle, then yeah, you're gonna have it too.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So we pretty much like we're talking about like the cycles, like whether it's financial, emotional, relational, and stuff. Like how things just break down. Like sometimes you didn't even ask for these things, you know.
Mhm.
You have to like heal from them. So it poses that question, like what cycles did you see growing up that you said like I'm not going to repeat that cycle.
What? Our mother? Everything. Everything. It was just like, I ain't gonna be nothing like that when I get up. That's all I was thinking. And I can tell, like, and I saw that with all of us. Like, it's like we just wanted to, like, desperately do something different with our own children, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh
And
my
yeah,
God.
it like just had just determination, what I mean, to like not, raise our children the way that we were raised, not, what I mean, what I'm saying, just them same experience. It was like, no, no, it stopped. It ends right there,
Here.
it stops there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Every time I think about like things that we had to go through, like growing
Mhm.
up and like situations we were exposed to, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't ever want
Mhm.
my kids to go through that or experience that, you
Right,
know. Uh,
right.
and just watching like the family dynamic. Like,
Hmm.
how about that? You know,
Yeah.
how like sometimes the family was close, sometimes they were divided, you know, just the animosity like towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, man, and it was just so important just becoming a mom and just saying no. I have to break that cycle of like siblings being envious of siblings or being at each other's throat. Um,
Mm-hmm.
not being a part of my kids' life, not making them feel loved, tell them that I love them, hugging them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
spending time with them, sharing
Yeah.
um family time and experiences with them, you
Yeah.
know.
Like, yeah, right. Like having like genuine relationships with your
Yes,
children,
yes, yes,
Yeah. Because it
yes.
just didn't seem like she tried to build that with any of us.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hello, Miss Lily. Thank you
Hi.
for coming in. It's like I think about it. I was like, man, like I'm like, how do we even like survive that? Like it's like,
Right.
it's like how do we
Mhm.
how do we survive that? When I look at like my kids now, it's like, wow, like you have no idea like the struggles, like things I had to go through like as a kid.
Yeah.
And you don't know what that's like. You don't know what that's like because you never had to go through that. I've been real intentional about
Mhm.
protecting you from
Yeah.
those situations. I've been intentional about making you feel seen and heard and making
Mhm.
you feel wanted, like that you're a part of my life that I love and I embrace, you
Yeah.
know? Um, like like you said, just sharing like everything possible with them. I know like it was probably a little tough, like early on when they were younger, like especially going
Mhm.
through like the divorce and all that stuff, and just trying to like figure things out, you know,
Mhm.
that being that parent that, okay, I don't have my husband anymore and I gotta take care of these kids and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But still wanting what was best for them at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you know,
Yeah.
struggling and scraping to make sure they had. And I could think about, like just like the simple things, like wanting for us to like have dinner together, you know,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
you
That
know,
was a huge one in my house too. Yeah, it
that's
was like, no, like like I need this, but y'all need this. Like I need this.
right.
This is what we're doing because yeah.
Right, right, right. It was
Yeah.
like that. That had to be a must. Like that was not negotiable. It was
Mhm.
like we go through the hustle and bustle throughout the day. When we all come together, this is our time as a family. Just sit and have
Mhm.
dinner together, talk about our day. You know,
Right.
it's an open forum. You can open up on like what happened today. Like you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
thing you want to share, you know what I'm saying? Like that had to be a must. And I always reflect, I was like, we didn't have that growing up. We didn't
Mhm.
have that. Okay, we all have dinner together. We sit and talk about things. It was like, all right,
Mhm.
we all doing our own thing. We passing through the night, passing through the day, you know. And I just think about, wanting so many different things to change.
Right.
Wanting so many different things to change, like when I became a mom. And it's like, in this
Mhm.
breaking generational curses goes so far and so deep because
Mhm.
it's not just like personal, like within our own like households, like how we, decided that we want to do something different, like we wanted to make changes. We wanted to be that different type of mom, that
Mhm.
parent when it comes to our kids, raising our children, you know. So, I think about like all the different things and try not to be traumatized by it.
Right.
Try not to be traumatized
Mhm.
by it, you know,
Mhm.
because it's like it makes you think about like how do they still affect you? Like all of the things that you saw growing up, like how does it like still affect you?
Mm. You know, and I've written about it, like when I was in school and everything. And just try to um just having a lot of forgiveness, what I mean,
Mhm.
understanding what she went through,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and just, and just try not to blame her, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
for things, um, it's like, cause yeah, what I mean, and try not to like, yeah, what I mean, just try not to hold those things and stuff, and what I mean, and just being like, okay, like that was her situation,
Right.
um,
Right.
and it's like, like that was her experience, and just trying to do the best I can to create a different experience for myself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I used to tell myself even when I was younger, because I would always hear things like, when they would say like, people or children are products of their environment,
Right.
you know. And
Right.
and so when I got into my 20s and just reading and stuff and everything, and I used to be like, all right, like, I'm not a product of my environment. I used to say that, like, I'm not a product of my environment, like I'm creating my own, type
Mm-hmm.
of, situation, and things like that. Um but yeah, how it affects me, I'm sure that it does, I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, in ways, and um but yeah, I just try to, that's why I said it's like that healing, process and stuff, what I mean? It's like we constantly on this journey. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because I know that there's all types of things that trigger me, and what I'm saying, that make have me react in certain type of way and stuff. It's like I try to be self-aware and, pay attention to, how I'm feeling, or um how I'm reacting, or how, what I mean, just, having emotional intelligence, to help me to deal, and manage through life.
Right.
Um, yeah, so yeah, it's like, what I mean, it's, just out here doing the best I can like everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, and you know, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, what I mean, because I know that there was a lot, what I mean, between my dad and, what I mean, and then my mother, and then, the military, and, what I mean, it's like just life can be really difficult, you
Yes.
know, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, what I mean, so it's like that's what had got me into like just reading a lot, studying a lot, and really um working on just healing, what I mean, because I had so much healing to do, and so um yeah, so just really putting me on that path of, just healing, and doing the work, I mean, constantly doing the work, I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is what helps me to be able to help other people too, what I mean, because sometimes it'd be like, okay, like I've been there, I've seen that, I understand that, what I mean, because, like I said, from dealing with, the neglect and abandonment and all types of other stuff, what I'm saying? And just, a lot of those feelings and stuff, and yeah, learning how to just process all of that. And I'm still learning, like I'm still learning,
Yeah.
but there's been certain tools, that I feel like that, support my growth and development,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I'm constantly turning to those things.
Yeah, yeah, and that's funny that you said that because it's like when did you realize that it was a cycle being repeated, like, and it wasn't just not just life, it was just a cycle being repeated. Like when we talked about um
Mhm.
like mom, like you had to like do forgiveness, like understand that she was going through stuff, and you didn't want to repeat that cycle, but you seen that it was just a cycle, like she was just going through stuff in her life like as a kid and just passed down and
Mhm.
just making that conscious decision that okay, I don't want that for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Mhm.
coming to that realization that okay, like yeah, I realized that this is a cycle. This is a cycle.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of times that I've sat and I've reflected, be like, wow, okay, the way mom did things. And then I said, how the way grandmom did things.
Right.
Like I would go
Mhm.
back that far and say, wow, wow,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like okay, it just kept repeating.
Mhm. And see, and then it's like, and I did, because I thought about grandmom's mother,
Right.
what I'm saying, and never met her, but what I'm saying, like I've seen pictures that Uncle Todd had,
Yeah,
You know what
Grandma
I'm saying?
Sunday. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
One
Mhm.
crafty sister. Thank you for coming in. Happy Sunday to you. I'm
Mhm.
glad you're enjoying our topic. Yes, we're talking about breaking generational curses.
Mhm.
And this is a real thing. And
Mhm.
sometimes you realize that you're going through like generational curses, and sometimes you don't,
Mhm.
but it's like once you come to that realization that there is a cycle happening,
Mhm.
it makes it easier to like try to heal from it and change it.
Yeah. One of the cycles that I think, I mean, like just, with like mom, grandma, going back, because it was so much church. You know
Yes.
what I mean? It was so much church.
Yeah.
And, just I remember times where, where things just like wasn't working out and stuff. And it was just like, oh, like we gotta pray,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I remember even as a child being frustrated, what I mean, like kinda like, what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we're not gonna bring these lights back on, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm
Okay.
saying? And like really, what I'm saying, just almost looking at her like she was crazy. Like, what? Like, nah, like, nah, I need you gotta make a phone call or you have to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to do something because what I mean, like,
Exactly.
just you know, man, like I could go on and on about, what I'm saying, the things that we experience as children, what I'm saying, with, lights, electricity, and, what I mean, heat and stuff. And, what I mean, those times are just going without.
Mhm.
And, and it was like, that was the only thing that I would really hear her say is like, all right, we have to pray. And it
Mhm.
used to drive me crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Child.
And
Child.
so,
Mhm.
it was just like, no, it's like that just made me want to, want to do. It's like, all right, how can I create this? How can I make this happen? You know what I mean? What do I need to do? You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, I'm praying, what I mean? I'm meditating, I'm listening and stuff, but I'm also acting, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, too. I'm also being
Mhm.
active. I'm also
Mhm.
being and not
Mhm.
just like, sitting like, you know. And
Mhm.
what I mean,
Mhm.
like I'm
Mhm.
all for that. Like I said, that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
that's a
Right.
third of it.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
like, it's like what is like the hardest part, like about admitting that your family wasn't perfect. It's like
I don't even find that difficult to be like, hey, what I'm saying, yeah, what I'm saying? Like I'm okay with, like you said, that being okay with not being okay, what I'm saying, and admitting that things wasn't perfect. And it'd be
uh-huh.
funny sometimes because when people meet me now and they'd be like thinking that, I came from a certain type of background and I'd be like, you have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like I put in a lot of work, put in a
Yeah.
lot of work, what I'm saying,
Mhm.
just, you know, is it just reminded me of like just like how when people see my locks or something, they'd be like, oh, like, what I mean, like they want that instantly. And they'd be like, no, this was years of, what I
Yeah.
mean, girl, I didn't just get this yesterday, what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like it's years of, growing, years of work, what I mean, that, goes in, just um yeah, what I mean, reprogramming,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. 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 Oh man, like I just think back, like like sometimes I would just sit and reflect, and I'll just like rewind
Mm-hmm.
like parts of my life, and it's like when we ask that question, like, what's the hardest part about admitting? Is like, wow, like you said, it's not really a hard part, but it's like I didn't realize it at a young age that my family wasn't perfect until I got older. It's like now when I think about stuff, I was like, man, like like you feel like your innocence is like lost. Hey, Super Chat, thank you for coming in. Like I feel like my innocence and my youth was like lost. I,
Mm-hmm.
I I think back to that little 5-year old that would
Mm-hmm.
be up against the sink, standing on the chair, like washing dishes, making a mess, sun,
Mm-hmm.
water everywhere, and it's like at that time, it's like you don't think that that's not normal, you know,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? I was like, but that was normalized. Like it's like, okay, you're old enough to go to the sink. The key to live a life. Let's open my own prayer.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Mhm.
I relate to that crafty sister. Yeah, but I was like, it was so normalized. It was like, okay, I knew that after dinner, I had to pull up that chair, stand to the sink, and wash some dishes, right?
Yeah.
And and then, being that 8-year-old, babysitting, like being the oldest of all the siblings,
Mhm.
and babysitting like a little baby brother, like what? I don't know, what's he like, 2 or 3 months old, and
Mhm.
like home babysitting my siblings, being
Yeah.
being taught to go in the kitchen and cook on the gas stove.
Mhm.
First thing I learned was how to cook eggs, and then
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
moved on from that. And it's like I
Mhm.
remember thinking as a kid, like, wow, like, dang, I'm only 8.
I knew something was wrong because from watching TV shows, you know what I mean? Like, where, like the Cosby Show and Good Times and stuff, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, like mom is present. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Mom is cooking meals and, you know what I mean, having conversations and, you know what I'm
Mhm,
saying, helping them work through things and stuff.
mhm,
And, you know what I
mhm.
mean? And just like, she just wasn't present for any of that. You know
No.
what I'm saying? And so it was just like, okay, um, but I think I was probably around 10 or so. I think when mommy had like that nervous breakdown and it had to
Mm,
go to that facility. And,
mhm,
and so it was just like, all right, I don't know, almost like it made sense or something, you know. So I
mhm.
don't know. She just like said, she just didn't really seem very, very present, you know what I mean, much at all.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and I and
Mhm.
I, I
Yeah.
talked about it a lot about like not really having a childhood. I mean, I didn't.
Mhm.
It was like I was doing a grown up adult things that,
Yeah.
like, instead of being out playing with friends at my age, I'm like babysitting, cooking the meal, doing the other stuff, and it was just so normalized. It was just like, okay,
Yeah.
you're old enough to babysit at 8 years old. You're old enough to cook. You're old enough to be in the house watching your little sibling. And I was
Yeah,
like, and
yeah, like
I couldn't imagine now leaving
mhm,
my 8-year-olds home to babysit.
to do for yeah,
I,
and for you, it was like, yeah, you had all of us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
I look at
mhm,
my kids and I was like, I couldn't imagine
mhm,
giving you that responsibility at 8 years old.
mhm,
I would think about that all the time. I think about it all the time. Like I would look at my kids as they growing up and was like, no,
mhm.
not ready for this. You're not ready for that. But it was like I was forced to be ready
Yeah.
at such a young age. I was like forced to be ready, you
Mhm,
know. And it was like I was like I didn't want to like do that to my kids. Like I didn't want to do it to my
yeah.
kids. And it's like,
Mhm,
all right, but it's like at one point do you stop like normalizing that? Like that's
mhm.
not okay. Like because I always talk about
Right.
like not
Mhm,
having a childhood. Like I really didn't have,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah. But, you hear a lot of people, like, they'll make their children go through the same thing because it's like, "Well, I did this." You know what I
Right.
mean? And I made it, so, you know what I'm saying? Or don't wanna, like, help. You know what I mean? Like the child or something, because it's like, well, I had to struggle through, I had to learn,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, so you gotta go through it the same way,
Right. Right.
type of thing and stuff. And like you see that a lot in our communities.
Yes.
Yeah. And so like for me, it was like, yeah, I didn't want my children to, have to struggle the way that I did or what I mean, just to go through the same thing. And it was like I was so determined to give them just the opposite. Just the
Hmm.
opposite. It was like, no.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we not continuing that.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, hi, mom. Thank you for coming in.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. You said she said they would have burnt it. I know, girl. Listen, I
Yeah,
couldn't
burning
listen.
the house
I
down.
have that much trust and faith for y'all to be doing all that, okay? But it was like I was entrusted to do things that adults do, and it's
Yeah.
like, and I did it, and
Mhm.
I didn't burn the house down. Like
Mhm.
my baby brothers and sisters, they survived. They was in one piece at the end of the
Right.
day. Wow. Well, when I think about that, I'm like, wow, like I really, really, really did that. Like I really, really did that.
Mhm.
And it's like, man, it wasn't nothing but the strength of God that got me
Mhm.
through all that stuff. They like literally got me through it, all that stuff. And I
Yeah.
felt like that once when I like being a mom. I mean, I wasn't like a super young mom, but I was young enough that I could have waited a couple more years. But it's like because of like growing up and not really like having the life of like freedom and be able to live, be a youthful adolescent or a youthful teen, like do things that normal teenagers and stuff would do. And it was like before I know it, I'm a mom, and
Mhm.
I have young kid, and it's like wow, I felt like I was like I missed out on so much. I felt like
Mhm.
I was so much of my life, and
Yeah, because
then
he was almost always so mature. It seemed like
right,
even, yeah.
right, right.
Mhm.
Feel like I missed out on so much of my life. And when it finally hit me, it was like, oh my God, like where did my life go? Like where did the time go? Like I want to be able to live and do things, right? And
Mhm.
I found myself being like, okay, who can I get to babysit my kids just so I can go out and have some fun? You know,
Mhm.
I starting to like have that frame of mind, like I haven't done anything for in my life. Like I want to go out and
Mhm.
do something, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, then it was one of those okay, all right. I had a good friend that was like always willing to like watch my young kids just so I could go out and have fun and do things, whatever. And it's like then it did something like clicked within me, like girl, you need to be home with your kids. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like, it's like when you start noticing that you're starting to repeat like a toxic behavior. I think about how mom would leave me home all the time,
Yeah.
leave us at home alone, or have somebody watching us while she did what she wanted to do. And once that
Mhm.
clicked with me, I was like, you're starting to act like your mother. Like, you
Um,
want to live your life, and your kids
mhm.
hardly see you now because you take them to school, and then that's you want to go out and have fun. I'm like, ooh, I was like, nope, 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 nope.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it didn't take me long to realize like, no, I'm repeating a toxic behavior.
Mhm.
My mom was barely around. She, every time she chance she get, she was gone. And
Mhm.
I was like, I don't want my kids to have that type of life or type of experience. But it was
Yeah.
like when they were like much younger, like before they like really could realize that, oh, I'm spending a lot more time with the babysitter and stuff like that, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm glad
Mhm.
that I was able to see and realize, like, you know what, my kids are young. They need their mom. Like, I need to snap out of whatever is going on.
Yeah.
That was a part of my life. But now, like, I'm a mom, and I have to really, break those curses to be a part of my kids' life, and not have my kids spending more time with everybody else than they do me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to, break those. I know like a big one, like that, children are supposed to be like seen and not heard,
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean, type of thing. That was one of those like things that I used to hate, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
too, so it's like, like with my children, like I made sure like I always listened to them. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like it was like, so like I wanted to hear so much of what they had to say. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
right,
From when they was
right.
like really little. Oh, and another one, that baby talking stuff.
Ooh, child.
Baby talk. It was like, no,
Oh,
no, no,
no.
do not do that. Do
That
not do that.
baby
Cause
talk.
like, cause I watched her do that with Charity and you know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? It was like just like no. Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so yeah, I thought that was like a big one, me too, because like just the things that I had, like read about that and just the way that, it messes with, like your learning and,
Mhm.
your speech, pattern stuff like that as you're growing
Yes,
up, I mean, when
yes.
you're speaking baby talk to a baby, like they can't learn from that properly,
Absolutely.
so it was like
Absolutely.
that was a big one. I refused. I was speaking like whole sentences,
Oh,
stuff
that's
like that to
yes.
them. Yes, yes.
Exactly. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I never agree with that baby talk because definitely it
mhm,
hinders their growth, their language, their speech development, all that good stuff. And it's like,
mhm.
why would you cripple your child? Like if they're supposed to like it's like hearing like a 4 or 5 year old saying dad, mama, what?
Right. Baba.
Bye
You know what I
bye.
mean, for a bottle, you know what I mean, or that
Uh,
when they want
uh,
something. I used to
uh.
be like, use your words, you know
Use
what I'm
your
saying? But
words.
mine, but all my children, like they was reading, like really early on. So that was another thing. Like I remember learning how to read. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I remember struggling with reading. You know what I mean? There
Mhm,
was no books in the house or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So like my children, they grew up with a lot of books. You know what I mean? None of them remember learning how to read. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Like they were all reading early.
mhm,
Um, Obasi started reading the earliest, you know what I mean? So like by 3 years old, like they were to like read books,
mhm.
and so for me, I remember at 6 years old, still like learning words, sounding out words and stuff like that, and struggle. Like I had struggled, you know what I mean, all even up into high school and stuff.
Yes,
Um, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just, it was just one of those things. And I did not want my children to go through that. It was
exactly.
like, no, so I used to put them in summer programs and things, stuff. Isis in fourth grade, she was reading on a ninth grade level. You know what I mean? Like Obasi, and when he was in high school, like the boy was just reading so far, like, into college level. It's just
Mhm.
like the
Yeah,
boy, yeah, he just always
yeah,
had it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, but, like, I just always had pushed that, so much with them, we're just really pushing, education because, mom just didn't push that, it seemed like at all,
Exactly,
at
exactly,
all.
exactly, exactly. And that's why, like, I wonder, like, was I a little like too strict, like with the kids, or did it kind of like balance out because like education was just like so important when it came to the
Mhm,
kids, like because you said like it wasn't like really pushed on us, it wasn't pushed on us, and I was
mhm,
always so adamant that with the girls, it was just like books before boys. Like them boys gonna
mhm,
be there. Worry about them books, like I said,
mhm,
like to make sure they had books, had their own library with just books, 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 books,
mhm,
and telling the boys like get them grades before them girls. Them girls gonna be there. You know what I mean? Them girls is ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? Get
mhm,
your life together, get yourself together. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Make sure you have them good grades. I said your record follows you. Your record follows you.
Mhm.
So be mindful of how you apply yourself. You know,
Yeah,
academic used to choose my writings to hang on the wall. I know, because I was
yeah.
real like adamant
Mhm.
that you guys were going to be successful.
Mhm.
I really did not play that stuff. I didn't play that. When it came
Yeah,
to this, I was like, get that education, get that education.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Mhm.
be mindful of your choices. Worry about your academics.
Yeah,
All the other stuff is just secondary.
yeah.
Worry
There was always
about
a lot of books around when they was little.
exactly like do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So and I I think about like it's funny like how we're talking about like generational stuff and how um things things happen and get carried through. And
Mhm.
it's like I actually watched something, it was last night I believe, about secrets, secrets,
Mhm.
secrets untold, right? About family,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, oh my gosh. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh-huh.
I was like, man, like I felt so like I don't know weird about the whole segment. It was about a woman who like
Mhm.
she's an educator, but she started she overheard her parents saying something about adoption,
Mhm.
right? And she was like, ooh, like adoption, like what does that mean? Like I heard my parents talking about adoption. And
Mhm.
then she just finally like asked them, like, adopted, like, and like, am I adopted? Because y'all,
Uh-huh.
y'all talking about adoption. And they finally
Yeah.
admitted to her, they was like, yeah, they adopted her when she was a baby.
Mhm.
Um, and from that point, she decided, oh wow, well, I need to figure out where I came from. Then. I need to figure
Mhm.
out where I came from. So she started digging and digging. Girl, she ended up finding out, you know, where her birth mom was originated from. Um, and she did how you can do like your ancestral tree to try to figure out who's connected with that name
Right.
and cross a gentleman. And she's like, and she reached out to him like, I think I'm your sister. I think you're my brother, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, ooh, okay, like weird. Who's this woman saying that she think that I'm her brother? Because as far as he knew, it was just him and his sister,
Mhm.
right? So so apparently he called his sister and was like, "Is it possible that mommy could have had another child?
Mhm.
Because that means she would had this child at 15 years old."
Mhm.
So his sister was like, "Possibly, because back in
Mhm.
that day,
Right.
the girls it wasn't uncommon for girls to
Mhm.
have babies at 14 and 15." So the daughter said, "Did she call their father and says, um, my brother just got a call from a lady claiming that she might be our sister. Did mommy
Mhm.
have any kids?" And they said the father was like so shooken up by it. So
Mhm.
apparently, their birth mother had gave birth to the lady that was adopted, and when she was 15, she gave birth to her. Her mother sent her away to have the
Mhm.
baby because it was fathered by the mother's husband.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yes. So the mother's husband impregnated her daughter. She realized the daughter was pregnant by the husband, sent
Mhm.
the daughter away to have this baby,
Mhm.
came back or wherever they made, of course they made her give up. You saw that episode? Didn't it have your tears? That was wild. So
Mm.
and come to find out that they were keeping that family secret. Keeping that family
Wow.
secret. Everybody knew that stepfather had been like raping her and everything. All those
Wow.
years, she was like 7 or 8 years old.
Oh my God.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I was like, man, I was like that generational stuff. Like it was like her mother tried to cover it up, the grandma, like everybody trying
Mhm.
to cover up the secret. Even
Mhm.
like her mother ends up having more kids with the stepfather. Even the brothers knew that the dad was
Oh,
raping
wait,
his.
wait, 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 wait. Hold on, wait, 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 wait.
Yes, yes, yes,
So, wait, wait. The mom. All right, the mom, the the that was raping her daughter, and then she continued to like be with this man
yes,
and have more children and have
yes,
children.
yes, yes. She had children with the man. The man was raping her daughter because that wasn't his daughter. So he was
Yeah, I'm
raping.
like something is broken there. Like, what in the world?
Yes. So she stayed with that man up until the day she died. Like that man, the man is still alive. Now the mom, the one that got raped, she died of cancer. She ended up dying of cancer. So I was like, and I was thinking about it. I was like, she must have died of like so much pain and like guilt and shame. You know what I'm saying? Like to go through that. Her mom didn't believe her until she got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Mom was covering it up and she stayed with the guy.
Wow.
Like,
That's so
woo!
heartbreaking.
That is.
Wow.
And she done died, and the man is still around, child. And
Being a creep.
yep, and the son was like, because she had two kids. Her biological mom had two kids. After she had the first child that she had to give away, she had it with her husband,
Mhm.
and her mother husband had two kids with the mom. It was just weird. But the two kids that would have been like they were still her siblings because her mom had birthed these kids, but the stepdad. So if she'd have had the baby around, the father, he would have been the grandpa and the dad.
Yeah.
The brothers would have been the siblings and the uncle and auntie. I was like, that's wild. Child, girl.
But yeah, it's like that, them secrets that be in the families and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yes, Mhm. Mhm.
Man,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's some wild stuff.
That's why I was like, I felt so bad for her because she was like, man,
Mhm,
I feel bad for even reaching out to try to
mhm,
find my family. She was like, because I was this big secret. And my
mhm,
mom had to go through that at 15 years old. And I had to dig up old wounds, because
yeah,
now my
mhm,
siblings that's with my mom, now they know that their mom was raped by their
mhm.
grandfather. Like,
It's
oh
so
man,
crazy.
I was like, yeah, that generational stuff. Like, I'm like, woo,
Mhm. I
child.
think that
Yeah,
at this day and age, what I'm saying, people are, I don't know, like not afraid to speak up, what I'm saying anymore. And, and really believing these children when they're saying, look, this is going on, you
yes,
know,
yes,
because
yes.
it's like, what I mean, it's just so many of those stories like
It
that,
is. It
you
is.
know.
It is. It is. Yeah. I was like, man, like, how can you not believe your child? Like, that's wild to me. And then you stay with this man. Had more kids with this man. Like, come on now. That's
I'm
wild.
like, uh, that is
Child.
so,
Child. Child.
mm-mm. But
Man.
you
Yeah.
know what? It's like, what I mean? And, but again, but like with that mom, we don't know what she might have going through. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like this is like, like so like how deep, what I'm saying, does it spiral downward, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And generations curses, boy. That stuff is real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But it's like talking about all these things. Like you have to like kind of unlearn a lot of
Mhm.
like the habits and the toxic behaviors and things,
Yeah.
um, and like
Mhm.
kind of like break free from all that stuff. It was like literally taking the chains off, trying to break free from.
Yeah, and especially when it be like multiple chains, like they on your arms, they around your neck, they on your legs, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying? It's around your
mhm,
body, because like it's like the financial, what I'm saying, struggles,
yes,
the dysfunctional family struggles,
yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
It's just, what I mean, that
Yes.
like emotional suppression. Yeah, it's just it'd be so many things that you're trying to shake off.
That you're trying to shake off.
You
That you're trying
know?
to shake off. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially like when we talk about like the mental health, like mental health, like carry on
Yeah.
generation, generation to generation. Like
Generation.
that's a
Yep.
that that's a huge one. That's a huge
That's a
one.
big one.
That's
A
a
very
big.
big one.
That's a
Yeah.
real big one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So considering that we've like talked about like different things that we made a choice that we wanted to break from, that we wanted to
Mhm.
break those generational curses. It's like, so what do you think like helped you like on your journey to like healing, like from it and
Um,
stuff like that?
when I tell you, I mean, I could just say it again, like not wanting to be like mommy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was just like I refused to be like that. You know what I mean? So it's just, like just trying to do, the opposite and stuff, you know what I mean? Um, But I don't know, it's like I be giving thanks, what I mean, to the universe because, what I mean, for the people that I have bumped into just along the way that have, supported my growth and, what I mean, helped guide me and um but yeah, it's like nutrition was a big thing. You know what I mean,
Mm.
for me because, like there was no sort of education about nutrition, what I mean, in our household, what I mean,
Yeah.
growing up. Um, but as I got older, and my adopted mama now, you
Mm-hmm.
know, being a natural healthcare professional,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, got me learning about herbs and things and stuff like that, what I mean, and just, able to heal myself, outside of, the hospital because that was one thing, it's like, when as soon as you think about like, all right, something is wrong, it's like running to the hospital, but it's like, no, what I mean, what I mean, just, start to learn about your body, you might just need this or be lacking in, a certain, nutrient or something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and, learning to get to the root of the problem instead of just treating the symptoms. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, all right, like
Right.
if I have a headache, don't just, run and get a Tylenol, try to understand, or why is my head hurting? Or, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
and just digging a little deeper. And then, changing my diet and stuff. Um, yeah, just, like I said, just doing things differently than how I had grew up, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, yeah, and just trying to, being determined to learn better ways, and
Mm-hmm.
learning in general, what I'm
Yeah.
saying, because, just the pure lack of guidance and education, and, yeah,
Child.
it's like, even like once I was older, and just feeling like, dang, I don't know shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, like, you know what I'm saying? Just being grown, but feeling so like, ignorant, you know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, you know what I mean? So, it's up to me. I can't keep blaming them for not teaching me. It was just
Right.
like, okay, so let me learn,
Yeah. Yeah.
like let me learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely been a lot of learning, like trial and error, just trying to like figure it out. And I just was thinking about those times, like, dang, I wish I had my mom to talk to, like
Mhm.
I wish I had that guidance, and not having it, you know.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it was so many times, or like, or when I would see other people or other mothers that was
Right.
like being good mothers, and it'd be like, dang, I mean, wishing that I had a mom more like that or something and stuff. But it was like, okay, let me try to be that person that I didn't have.
That
You
part.
know what I'm
That
saying? And
that part.
yeah,
Yes, yes. Be,
it was
be the
like, what else
mom
can
that
we
you wish
do?
you had. Be
You
the
know?
mom that you yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that was always so important to me, like being the mother that I wish I had growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So just creating that loving dynamic, just that
Hmm.
you mean something, you matter, like your decisions, the path you take in life is very important, to me, and we always talk about like family, and
Hmm.
like you already know how important like family like is to me, and
Hmm.
that I'm always trying to take opportunities to bring the family together. But
Hmm.
on the other side of that, you think about, because of like the generational curses that along the way, that a lot of other family wasn't taught, you know, to be united, or
Mhm.
want to be unified,
Right.
want to be around family, want to celebrate with family and stuff.
Mhm.
It gets tough. It's like you can't like make somebody, want to change the
Right.
dynamics. You can't
Mhm.
make them,
Right.
So I think that for me, that sometimes that gets frustrating, especially when I'm trying to like pull people together, and then it's like the excuses as to why they can't do it, or oh, I don't like this
Mhm.
or family member or that family member. I
That
mean,
drives
it,
me
it
crazy.
it drives me nuts. It does.
Mhm. Or you
Like, oh
invite them,
my
and it's like, oh well, who gonna be there? What difference does it make? It's like, what I mean, because yeah, like you want me to tell you, so then you can decide whether or not you're gonna show up because you don't want to run into this person ever. You're
right,
like, please stop.
right,
Yeah, like
right.
just come on out. You know what I mean, and bring your love, bring your joy. You know what I'm
That
saying?
part.
Bring that presence.
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'll be determined to just do whatever I can to try to bring like family together, bring us together,
Mhm.
do something, be joyful. You know what I mean? I try that
Mhm.
so many different times. Whether it's like over the holidays or putting together a bar
Mhm.
and inviting people, just try to bring like us together, just try to bring us together. And and
Mhm.
I think I learned a lot of that from like on dad's side of the family, because my grandma was big on that. Like
Mhm.
holidays at her house,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving at her house, like bring your family together. Like she was so big on family being together. Family had to stick together, and that's when I learned
Mhm.
a lot of that just from that side of the family. And now
Mhm.
I think that now that she's gone, like I still think about her a lot. Like man, like I remember like Christmases at grandma's house, like us getting together, and it's like now that she's gone, I feel like that like the family kind of lost their way a little bit.
Mhm.
Like the dynamic of everybody getting together all the
Yeah.
time. I that fell down the wayside. And I think about grandma,
Mhm.
like, what would grandma think about this? I was like, she probably
Mhm.
down shaking her head,
Yeah.
especially the way some things have shifted and changed within the family.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. But it's
it's
really
like
beautiful how, it's like, you found your own ways to keep these things going on. You know what I'm
right,
saying? The beautiful traditions, you know what I'm saying? Those beautiful cycles that you want to continue. You know what
exactly,
I'm saying? Yeah, and it's lovely.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying my best out here in these streets, girl.
Yes, yes. That's all we can do is do our
I'm
best.
trying my best. I was
Yeah.
like, listen, all I could do is
Mhm.
extend it and extend the love and like you come, you come. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
it's like why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you?
Mhm.
You know, why wouldn't you want to be
Mhm.
part of family and try to keep certain like traditions going and like and break those curses of everybody's for self and I
Mhm.
don't want to be around this family member. I'm fighting this family member. Like stop. Like
Mhm.
no, like I really it doesn't sit well in my spirit when I don't have like a strong connection to certain family, and
Right.
but a lot of it comes from that side, like their perspective, the way they do things, like the toxicity. It's like I'm
Mhm.
not going to continue the toxicity with you. So sometimes
Mhm.
I have to remove myself from the situation because you're being toxic, and
Right. Mhm.
it's bad because it's like it's family, but it's like it's that fine line. It's like I'm trying to break those generational curses. I'm trying not to carry on the toxic behavior. You're stuck in that mode, in that frame of mind.
Mhm.
You're stuck in those behaviors. I can't be a part of it, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's like when people see me or something, they be like, "Oh, aren't you related to so and so?" Or be like,
Mhm. Mhm.
"Yeah."
Mhm.
I've literally had to distance myself and disassociate myself
Aw.
because
Yeah.
I've had to
Mhm.
disassociate myself, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I'm all about love and unity and positivity. I can't get down with like the toxic behaviors. I can't get down with like the jealousy and the envious stuff and
Mhm.
know, no, I can't. So
Yeah.
I have chosen to disassociate myself, you know,
Mhm.
um, for a lot of reasons, I mean, I feel like it's a sad situation. It's definitely
Yeah.
a sad situation, but I for my peace of mind and for
Mhm.
like my energy, it's like
Mhm.
like you're bringing energy that I don't want in my life.
Mhm.
And like when I made that choice to break free of,
Mhm.
of that toxicity, I was like your energy, I can't
Mhm.
I can't with your
Mhm.
energy. So I'm going to remove myself from that energy.
Yeah. Sometimes it be like that.
I'm going to remove myself
Mhm.
because they're still stuck in something. I don't know what you're stuck on, but you're stuck in something,
Mhm.
and it doesn't align with my values. You know,
Yeah.
not with my values. But yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so like you said, like you figured out ways to like help you heal through your journey and stuff like that. Like I know sometimes it goes too deep to where people might have to like do therapy something to get through. You know,
Definitely.
go through
Yes,
therapy.
for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah,
stop being afraid of therapy. I was like,
yeah.
please, people, stop being afraid of therapy.
Stop being
Therapy works.
afraid.
Therapy helps. You know what I mean? Sometimes it be like stuff that you know help you unpack things that you don't even realize is going on. You
Right,
know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
right.
When you respond in certain ways, you know what I mean, start noticing patterns of behavior for yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And it'd be like, okay, you're doing this because and you know what I mean, in your childhood this is going on, or what I mean, it's
right.
like, because of relationship that you had with your mother, or the relationship you had with your father, or certain ways that they made you feel or something, you know what I mean? And now it's like, you still carrying on some behaviors because of whatever reason.
Yeah,
It's like we gotta stop being afraid of therapy, you know what I'm
yes.
saying? But also
Mm-hmm.
like really like, doing that inner work, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that, to
yes,
helping ourselves release those traumas, you know,
yes, yes.
you know, really
Mm-hmm.
helping
Mm-hmm.
ourselves to release some traumas, you know what I mean? It's like, peeling back your own onion,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Cleaning out them layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, 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 yep. Like you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
therapy. Like, and even like we talk a lot about like journaling too, like
Mhm.
writing it down can help
Mhm.
unpack it. You know what I mean?
That was a big one for me. That was a
No,
big one for me because I'm
yeah.
saying when I first started writing about it, um, and like once I like really started digging into it, I didn't realize how much resentment I had for mommy. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying?
mm,
And it got to a point to where I started calling her that woman.
that woman. Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like so mad at her. And
yeah.
I didn't even realize how because it was like stuff I thought I was over it. It'd be
Right.
like, "Oh, it's in the past." What I mean? I'm
Yeah.
over it. And then next, it was like I'm writing, and then it was this the anger was just coming out, and I was just so mad at her. It was like, damn, I didn't even realize, you know what I mean? But it was
Mhm.
like, man, like that woman. Then it was like, wait, girl, like Janae, you know what I'm saying? That's your mother. I was checking myself, like, but I was just so mad, what I mean, and didn't even like realize, like how much I was still holding on to after
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
many years.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But yeah, like so like that writing it out really, really helped me to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, okay, so now it's there and in front of me. So like now how do I process it? How do I release it? How do I let it go? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
that I'm not, putting it onto my children. You know what I mean?
Right.
Putting it onto my
Exactly.
relationships. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the adrenaline helps me a lot too. It does. It
Mhm.
does. Like especially if I'm having difficulty, like talking about or something, then it's like, okay, writing it down. How am I feeling?
Mhm.
Like it allows me to dig deep within.
Right.
Like I'm pouring out my soul, but I'm writing it out. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like it helps me so much when I
Yeah.
do that. If it's something like deeply bothering me or troubling me, it just it's like, okay, girl, you writing like this whole thing to yourself. Like if this somebody's gonna read what you're saying, it's like I
Mhm.
want you to feel my soul. I want you to see what I'm going through.
Mhm.
Understand what I'm going through. You know, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And even like with my dad, like, cause my dad, like, he used to shout and stuff a lot. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And didn't really listen much. You know what I mean? My dad was more of a, do what I say, not as I do type of guy and stuff. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And just, but yeah, so even like the way that I would, deal with my children, a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, so, just really like listening to them, understanding, we sit down, we have talks, having really open relationships, you know
mhm,
what I'm
mhm.
saying, with them, and me and my, we grew to have that, you know what I mean? But, when I was younger, it was a different story.
Uh,
Yeah, I feel like I helped him, learn how to, what I'm saying, better deal with me as I was learning and growing and changing, what I mean, to better deal with myself and teaching him how to treat me, you know.
right, right, right.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel
still
like
a mess.
that
He's still a mess. but
I'll crack it up.
but we doing better.
I'm crying right now. Um, yeah, yeah. I just feel like just having that open door policy is so important. It's so important. Like one thing you don't want is that your kids be afraid to talk to you. Because I remember growing up, like being afraid to talk to mom, like
Mhm.
being afraid to tell her things, right? You know,
Wow. Yeah.
for fear that she
Mhm.
wouldn't understand or she wouldn't listen or she wouldn't hear me. Like
Yeah.
keep things to myself, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
and my dad was a little different. Like, it was like, well, why didn't you tell me? Like, why didn't you talk to me about it? But I was
Mhm.
so accustomed because we grew up with mommy that, we didn't talk about stuff. You know,
Yeah.
we suppressed it. We kept things to ourselves. So it's like,
Mhm.
so like when my dad would ask me, like, why you didn't tell me or something like that, it's like, okay, I didn't know how to tell you.
Mhm.
I was afraid to talk to you about certain things or something like that.
Mhm.
Like I never wanted that for the kids, and I will always say, like, I would rather you come and talk to me,
Mhm.
found out somewhere else. I
Mhm.
said because it might change, like my response to it. If you didn't come to me first. Like I don't want to hear about something secondhand. I don't want nobody to come and tell me something that you should have told me, or I don't want
Mhm.
to find out about something that you should have came and told me first. You
Right.
So, and I would say, no matter how uncomfortable you might think it might be for you, or how uncomfortable you think it might make me feel, it will make me feel even more comfortable that you came and talked to me about it first.
Mhm.
And it could be something that we probably can talk through or work out, as opposed to me finding out otherwise. You know,
Yeah.
I think just by me having that open door and explaining to them in a way that say that I prefer that you tell me whether it's good or bad, talk to me
Mhm.
about it,
Mhm. Mhm.
that they will come
Mhm.
talk to me about things, whether it was good or bad. you
Mhm.
know, and I always feel like that I handled it and responded a little different than what I probably would
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
if they did not, you know. So yeah, this is it's all about like breaking those cycles, cycles, and they actually
Mhm.
have like different like books and stuff and tools that can like help you like heal from like the generational curses, or like when you're trying to break the cycles from the families and stuff. Like
Mhm.
there's this one book called like It Didn't Start With You. Um,
Oh.
yeah,
Mhm.
like it's like how inherited like family traumas shapes who we are and how we end the cycle.
Mhm. I love it.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
Another one called like Generational Healing, Breaking Free from the Change from Your Past.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of different resources out there. Like if you're like struggling with this type of situation, like if you're seeing a lot of toxicity or a lot of generational things just passing through the
Mhm.
family down and down, it's a lot of different resources to help you. Like so I
Yeah.
would just want to encourage like read up on it, like look up like, what tools are available to help me navigate to get through, as
Mhm.
opposed to like, of course we talk about therapy and counseling is a big one. Um,
Mhm.
and and another one that I strongly believe in, and it helped me get through a lot of what I had to go through growing up, is me saying like I am the cycle breaker in my family.
Mhm.
The cycle
Mhm.
in my family. It stops
Yeah.
here.
Yes. Yes. It ends with me.
Ends with
Yes.
me. It ends with me.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
yes,
Yep,
yes.
yep. And and my dad, he's a smart guy. What I mean, it would be sometimes where, I feel like he was trying to, push us and inspire, me and my other siblings, through him, to try to do more. I mean, sometimes he would talk about his parents and the things that he tried to stop, certain cycles and stuff, and or would tell, us to even like learn from his mistakes,
Mhm,
kind of things,
mhm,
Um, and I even tell that to my girls sometimes, my son, we'd be like, all right, okay, this was going on, and yeah, and even some of the things that might have got carried over that I might have repeated. And I would tell
mhm.
them learn from my mistake, my mistakes, and not to repeat those same things,
Right, right,
Um,
right,
yeah, yeah.
right, right,
hmm
right. So it's so who or what keeps you accountable?
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like you keep yourself accountable.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And um I don't know, and like, just trying to challenge myself to do more. You know what I mean? Like, even like how I've been thinking about going, like for my doctorate, you know what I mean? Like I don't know anybody else in my family that has that. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? And
mhm,
so it was just like, all right, what I mean, just ways I wanted to just push myself and,
mhm.
encourage myself and, you
Right,
know, yeah. Um, but I don't know, it's like as far as who holds, like I said, who holds, me accountable, for those things. Yeah, it's just, myself, like my own, my goals and things that I set for myself.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Same. Because it's like,
hmm
who else gonna do it? Like honestly,
hmm
especially those that cannot relate or don't know your backstory or know like how hard you had to work to get to where you are, and how
hmm
hard you had to like break the curses. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I definitely like agree with that. Like, yeah, I have to hold myself accountable because nobody else is
Yeah.
for me, right? And
Mhm.
it's like once you are holding yourself accountable for breaking those cycles and relieving like the toxicity, the behaviors that you grew up with, or things that you had to unlearn because you realized that they were not normal.
Mhm.
It took me get older to realize that a lot of stuff that I was doing and as a kid was not normal. There's not a lot of kids my age doing those things, you know.
Right.
But at the time,
Mhm.
it's like, you don't think about that. It's just like it becomes a part of life, and it was like so normalized that okay, this is what you do at this age, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like when you come to that level of understanding, and you start to move past it, you start to unlearn all those habits. It's like what happens to like the people that are not trying to heal. Like you're healing, but the people around you haven't healed yet. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, you can't let that stop your process. You know what I'm
child,
saying? I've learned that, um, people develop at their own pace
right,
and
right,
stuff, you know what I mean? And, and it's like, you can't force anybody else's pace. And, it's like, each person is in control of their own path.
yeah,
So it's like, you can give support and, advice and things like that, suggestions, you know, but yeah, but it's up to each individual, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean that general curse mindset is like real. Like some people get stuck like in that cycle of like the poverty and like the financial like instability.
I was about to say the big one that I see, the financial thing, and I
Yeah,
just be like, man, if we don't get a hold of that, you know
what?
what I'm saying? It's like
Mm, mm,
even like with like the consumerism and what I mean stuff. And I'll be like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Some of the things that I see people like, like I know folks, they make a whole lot more money than I do. You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm.
But they're not able to do as much as I do because, it's like their money management. It's like at the end of the day, what I'm saying, they be having like less than I do, you know what I mean? Because of just the way that they are, what I'm saying, like throwing their money away, you know what I mean? I just be like watching, like, wow, what I'm saying? I be thinking like, well, like what I would do if I had their, what I'm saying,
Okay,
their money.
that part,
But
part.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, the way that we spend, what I mean, as black folks, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just saying black folks because that's my community,
Yes, yes, yes,
um
yes.
you know what I mean? And, the poor money management, and
Mm-hmm.
it just be
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, I remember years ago when I had saw when they was talking about that, it's like we supposed to be like so low income, you know what I mean, people, but we spend more money than like all the other cultures, like we're
Yep.
spending trillions each year. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And so it was like,
Exactly.
okay, but these people, but we're all low income. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
It's like what's going on? Like that's not adding up at all. You know what I'm
Mhm, mhm,
saying?
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of like, especially when you come into like a little bit of money, especially in our community, instead of like investing it or like making it grow, they're more
mhm,
worried more about, oh, let me get them $200 sneakers, or let me go
mhm,
this Bugatti, this fancy car. It's like, come on now, like
mhm,
and trying to see who I could outdo the next person,
mhm,
instead of being sensible and wise with it. But a lot of times it happens like that, like you said, that generational stuff. Like, okay, well, see, they might have saw somebody when they got their come up. They went and did the same thing. Like, let me go and spend it. Let me go throw my dollars, sharing it around. Let
mhm,
everybody know I got a couple dollars. Be like, now when I get my come up, I'm gonna go flex it, show it around. Let everybody know I got a couple
mhm,
dollars. And it just
mhm,
goes on and on and on and on. You know.
mhm,
Yeah, and that's when it comes to that mindset. That mindset,
mhm,
like it's like, when do you stop? It's like, okay, all right, I came into a little money. I'm going to invest in more money, right? I'm not going to be
mhm.
blowing my money right here, showing and getting the fancy cars and spending $400 or $500 on the outfit just to say
Right.
I got money. Like, come on now.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, like you say, you know what I mean, creating that, you know what I mean, this ongoing cycle instead of creating generational wealth. You know
Generational
what I
wealth.
mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Yep.
know, it's like, you know what I mean, like we can flip it. We can, you know what I mean, but it's like I said, it take work, it
It
takes
takes work.
education, you
Yep.
know what I'm saying? You know, it takes some
Yep.
patience, you know what I
Yep.
mean? But, to create that, what I mean, to create things on a healthy, create them healthy cycles.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like what cycles like have you been determined to break so the next generation won't have to?
Um, that's one of them. I'd say, like those, financial cycles,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
educational cycles,
Right.
um, the mental health, cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seemed like that has just been consistent and on mommy's side for sure.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
Yes. Yes.
um,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. 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 I
yeah.
agree with all that.
Mhm.
Like that's just when it comes to like parenting styles, like doing something different in our
Right.
styles, right?
Mhm.
Just trying to mentor others that you see that's going down that path that they shouldn't go to, you know,
Mhm.
trying to mentor them and to say no, like it's a better way to do that. Um,
Yeah.
teaching, like you said, financial teaching, money management,
Mhm.
like you don't have to blow your money, like have something for a rainy day. Like I found myself
Right.
like talking to like even with my son, like have something for a rainy day. It's like
Mhm.
situation where you really don't have to like want or need for a lot, but you have to get rid of that mindset and think suppose you didn't have those resources or you
Mhm.
have that backup to that helps keep a roof over your head or something. What would you do? You
Yeah.
always gotta have something for that rainy day.
Mhm.
You
And even
know?
like with traveling and stuff, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, oh, pardon me, like the way that it would be like, all right, okay, you can spend your money on this,
Hmm.
or you can like, or that could be a plane ticket. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That can, what I'm saying, like where you could do something different, create this wonderful experience, what I'm
Yeah.
saying, for
Yeah.
yourself, create some memories,
Yeah.
or you could just blow it all on, that
Hmm.
one thing. You know
That
what I'm
one thing.
saying? That's just, this material item, you know.
Child. Child. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Like this is it's definitely something that we need to really be mindful of, like when we're like thinking about experiences that are happening in our life, is like how am I going to break that cycle? What am I
Mhm.
determined to break so that like the next generation don't have to go through that? Or
Mhm.
like if I had my way, like family be together all the time. Like
Yeah.
I'm together all the time. If I had my
Yeah.
way, we'd be together all the time.
Yeah.
And I, and I, and
Well,
I
maybe just
think
stop
about it be
popping up
like,
over there all the time now.
hmm,
Easy. I said, or maybe just be coming over there all the time now. I'll be
right?
there for dinner.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I was like, if I had my way,
Uh-huh.
everybody be over all the time. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
I love
Yeah.
it.
It's just breaking on cycles and just trying to pull everybody together, Um, yeah, but it's like, but if it's like at the end of the day, like if you're seeing things repeated, you're seeing habits repeated, and it's going through the family or something. It's like break it, try to break it, get rid of them chains, like break the silence, speak up when
Mhm.
something is not,
Yeah.
not conducive or it's not, serving you, in a positive way. Because like I said, things are just
Mhm.
keep trickling and trickling and trickling and trickling,
Mhm.
and it's a sad situation. It's definitely a sad situation.
Mhm.
You know, um,
You know,
but
that's one thing, like with me and my cousins, like how we hang out and stuff. And, because that's what we feel like we are creating new things.
see,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, we spend, how we spend time together and stuff. We planning, like a cousin trip, you know,
mm-hmm.
like just doing things, what I mean, that our parents did not do.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why
Mhm.
I love that. Yeah, because we were just literally talking about that too, about doing like a family thing, and I felt like me and our cousin T, like we
Mhm.
had something good going. You know,
Mhm.
we got to do like a cousin trip when we did the before.
Yeah,
I was like, I would love to keep doing that, like every year, like doing
right.
like a cousin trip or something. Because like
Mhm.
it's just like having everybody on board or having that mindset. It's like
Yeah.
having that mindset. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, but we definitely gotta try to work that one out again
Yeah.
on on our mom's side. But yeah, but for those
Yeah.
that are just tuning in or new to the channel, um, I know you hear us talk about our dad and our mom. Uh, Janae and I are biological sisters. We do have the same mother,
Mhm.
but we have a different dad. I mean, it happens.
Mhm.
That's life. That's life. But a lot of times when
Mhm.
we're talking, we might refer to like my dad's side of family or her dad's side of family, but we have the same mother. That
Mhm.
part didn't change.
Mhm.
We were birthed by the same mother. So yeah, but we have a lot of similar experiences when it comes to like our mom's side of the family.
Right.
Lucky for us that we by us having different paternal family, that we have different experiences from like both sides too. So
Mhm.
yeah, but we definitely come together to share our
Mhm.
experiences, and we have been very, very intentional about like breaking like generational curses on both sides of our family.
Yes, we have.
Same family who can cause me distress, but I knew it wouldn't help because they still act like a child. It's still nice you cared though. Oh, heart. Of course. Like, at the end of the day, sweetie, you can't change people. You can't change people. Like some people don't want to break the cycles.
Right.
Like it's like sometimes people went through it with like their parents, and their parents went through it, and it just carries on. It keeps carrying on, keep carrying on. And
Mhm.
like I was determined to let things stop with me. So this is why I'm a different type of mom.
Mhm.
A different type of mom when it comes to you children and my family, because I'm trying to
Mhm.
break those curses, okay? And I don't want you guys going forward to experience a lot of stuff that I had to go through growing up, and that's why I love so much that you guys are close. Like all the children are close, and they love on each other. You know, and
Mhm.
I feel such at ease that if like something was to happen to me, that you guys will always still be close. You know,
Mhm.
and you will love each other and have each other's back, and that's because I was intentional in raising you that way. You know, to love and support each other. So just keep going. When God calls me home, that you still keep it going, and still love on each other and be there for each other. Because the I am the cycle breaker. I am the cycle breaker of my family. You know,
I know that's right.
I didn't have that
Mhm.
growing up, but it started with me, and this is what I'm passing on to you guys.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you for sharing that, Angie Cakes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
just here to say that I've broken a lot of cycles, as well as Janae has.
Mhm.
Like we do things much different, and our topic has been about breaking generational curses, and I feel like
Mhm.
that we've broken generational curses when it came to how we move and shake out here when it comes to our lives and our
Yeah.
family lives and our
Yeah.
children's lives. you know but yes, but just try to unlearn those patterns, and tap into resources that can help you if there's something that you are
Yeah.
struggling. If there's something you're struggling with, tap into those resources. There's so many out there that can help
Mhm.
navigate through and cut that cord. Break them chains. Break them
Yes.
cycles, okay, that you have grow up or
Mhm.
got accustomed to. It's time to break it. Let it
Mhm.
stop. Let it stop.
Yeah, like you said, and I like you said, like, even like that visual, you think about them strings and, I mean, visually, like you said, cutting them strings, cutting them cords, I
Yes,
mean, that, have held you down, breaking them
yes.
chains.
Breaking them
I
chains.
love it.
Yes, yes, yes. Yep. Like
Mhm.
we're a living witness. It can be done. It can
Yeah.
be done.
Yes.
where we are the proof in the pudding. But yes, that was our topic for today.
Mhm.
Breaking generational curses, and I really, really, really appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Like I understand that you could have been anywhere on these YouTube streets, but you were a part of this live today, and for that it is all love, all love, all love.
Yeah.
Totally, totally, totally appreciate you for being here.
Yes.
And I always say that if you have not done anything for you, please do something for you.
Show love on
Love
yourself.
on you. Love on you. Love on you.
Yes.
Yes. And with that being said, I want you to have a great rest of your day and an
Yes.
amazing rest of your week. I'm
Yes.
TB, TB's Life, and that's my lovely sister, Janae Goddess Light from Artistic Healing Expressions.
Yeah.
And we look forward to talking to you on the next Sister Talk Sunday. You never know what we're going to talk about. Take
Yes.
care, everybody.
Take care. Bye. Much
Guys,
love. Peace.
see you guys.